As a color, green represents renewal, rebirth, and new beginnings. It's also just a hell of a color to make a watch dial out of. Green has been hot for a couple of years now, and I don't think the trend is going anywhere. So let's talk about my 10 favorite green dial watches. And at the end of the video, I'm going to give you a bonus number 11 that I just added to my collection. Hey guys, I'm Max and this is WatchCrunch. Watch collecting doesn't have to be a lonely sport. Come join the community that we've built on WatchCrunch, by far the friendliest, most welcoming watch crowd this side of the Mississippi. Is it a micro brand? Is it not? Who cares? Christopher Ward has been on a roll as of late, so this Dune model in bronze may have flown under the radar for a lot of people. It's not a showy watch, but that's what makes it so great in its bronze form. This one, as you can see, has had plenty of time to gather that gorgeous patina. Now, some people will tell you that bronze is out, but don't listen to them. Nothing in the watch world quite ages as uniquely as bronze. And if you get tired of it, a bit of lime juice and elbow grease will turn it right back to new. The dial is what Christopher Ward calls beach grass, and the steely green finish has a wonderful sunburst effect. The metal surrounds of the markers also match the gold case. Inside, we've got a COSC certified Sellita SW200 that is thin enough to keep the case proportions down to 38 by 12. The only criticism I have is that the clasp is a little bit long and makes it hard to wear for smaller wrists. But that clasp hides a quick adjust system inside for on-the-go bracelet resizing. You're getting a lot of watch here for $1,500. Now, Grand Seiko has been not so subtly gunning for Rolex's clientele, and I consider the SBGW line a legitimate contender to the Oyster Perpetual. Both are 36 to 37 millimeters, both have simple three-handers without a date, both are priced $5,000, $6,000. The Grand Seiko trades a bit of the hard-wearing characteristics of the Rolex for Japanese refinement and dial artwork. This Ginbei Valley Special Edition is said to resemble its verdant foliage. Sit near a window and the texture of this dial just looks sublime. There's a few examples of green dials in the SBGW line, but this is still the one that stands out for me. On the back, we get to peer into the 9S64 movement with fine decorations, near COSC accuracy, and 72 hours of power. I went a step further and paired it with the JDM Beads of Rice bracelet. Yes, there is a Grand Seiko bracelet that I don't hate, but it's still missing micro adjustments. IWC ruffled a lot of feathers when they re-released the much anticipated Ingenieur last year at $12,000, and most people wrote it off as too much and too late to the integrated bracelet game. Now, I have to admit, I was one of those people until IWC graciously sent me a green one to play with for a couple weeks, and I did not want to give this watch back. The case is finished about 15% better than I was expecting, and the turquoise green dial is a sight to behold. It has like a grid pattern of embossing that adds a lot of depth. Admittedly, I wish the case was a couple millimeters smaller still, but this is a 40 mil that wears much better than, say, the 40 mil of the PRX, thanks to articulating first links. The green one even has a bracelet with polished middle links that makes it really kind of pretty and splits the difference between the curvaceous Nautilus and the brutalist Royal Oak. Yes, the big criticism is that at this price you have a movement that's still based on an ETA, but you can't argue that they've milked 120 hours of power out of something that's running still at 4 Hertz. This is a watch that can legitimately replace a whole collection. Now, for the German take on the everyday watch, we look at this Nomos Club Sport. Nomos has been quietly expanding their club line. A great casual everyday wear, this 37mm beauty is done in their Petro color, which is a nice desaturated green. And it's got a sunburst so strong, it should probably come with a warning label. The printed dial has a classic Bauhaus aesthetic with sans serif font and great attention to spacing. Now, Nomos are known for their long lugs. I don't think they're going to budge from this design conviction, so this 37mm case has a long lug-to-lug of 48. But it wins back a lot of points by just how thin it is thanks to the in-house DUW 3001 automatic movement. Yes, it's priced at $3,500, but name me another brand that's making an 8mm thin automatic watch at that price. Okay, I feel like I'm running out of synonyms for green, but if you're enjoying this video and want to support the channel, you can like and subscribe below. Also check out our proprietary Zero Pass strap and the product shelf below the video. Warning, you might never want to go back to a regular NATO again. I consider any green dial discussion incomplete without the Seiko Alpinist. You might have come across this guy in my State of the Collection video, but this is my $800 SPV 210 that I have modified to lose the Cyclops and regain a black date wheel. Now, if you want to know how this is done, send me a message on WatchCrunch, I'll talk you through it. Now, the reason why the Alpinist is on the Mount Rushmore of enthusiast watches is pretty obvious. Sub $800 price, classic 39mm size, no frills, Seiko 6R automatic movement, a screw down crown, and 200 meters of water resistance. Oh, and as a bonus, there's a dope ass compass bezel that allows you to circumnavigate the world using nothing but the sun. This is all tied together by a foresty green dial that bursts so hard, I've almost swerved off the road a few times staring at it on the steering wheel. Now, you can talk shit about Seiko all you want, but you leave the Alpinist out of it. The duel for the ultimate rectangular watch always comes down to two: Cartier Tank, JLC Reverso. And truthfully, I've always thought the Reverso to be a little gimmicky with its flippy case. And this is the first one I've had a chance to review on the channel. Well, hell, I'll eat my words, because the flippy mechanism feels so well engineered and smooth to operate. We also must remember that it was born out of necessity, and this is the quote-unquote first sports watch, invented to protect the dial and crystal during a polo match. This Reversal Tribute has a verdant green dial that shimmers in the light of day, but is dark enough as not to ruin that old money aesthetic. The 27mm wide case doesn't leave a lot of real estate for the dial, but that's where JLC shines, squeezing in a small seconds at the 6 and maintaining perfect spacing between all the dial elements. It's also matched with a green leather strap that is probably the best OEM strap I've come across, and that's because it's made by Casa Fagliano, a 100-year-old bootmaker from Buenos Aires. For around $10,000, this is the level of detail you expect from JLC. For number 7, we come back down to earth with the Hamilton Khaki Field Auto in titanium. Now, there's a number of watches in the Khaki Auto lineup, but the green and the blue titanium versions are probably my favorite. Titanium has a darker hue, and when fully brushed, looks super stealthy in this military-inspired watch. The green dial here is lighter, almost pastel, but still with great variation in texture thanks to a circular pattern ring that separates the hour track from the center of the dial. The sizing of this watch is lovely, 38 by 11.5, which means that it's thick enough to feel substantial, but not so thick that it picks fights with your sleeve. For sub $1,000, you're also getting a stellar movement in the Hamilton H10, which is an ETA 2824 with the beat rate slightly slowed down to 3.5, but the power reserve almost doubled all the way to 80. And no, Hamilton did not cheap out by putting plastic parts in there. Third to last, I'm already taking you guys to Grail Town. I was at TimeWorks, my local Seattle AD, the other day, and they happened to have this gold Speedmaster in the green dial. I mean, this watch shouldn't exist. Just like the two-tone Explorer, it is a you watch. It's irreverent, it throws tradition out the window, and that's why I think I love it. The green is really deep with a great sunburst finish, and at certain angles it just looks black. This is a watch to die for. I mean, if I was Buzz Aldrin, I'd want to be buried with this watch. Often overlooked in the integrated bracelet watch discussion is the Gerard Pegasus Laureato. But I think this might be the best looking of the bunch. I've not spent much time with this guy, but when I saw a wrist roll from our friends at Fedmar Watches, it stole my breath. The green dial has a deep geometric embossing up close, and I just love how it pairs with black accents, giving it great contrast. For $12,000, I came close to selling like half my collection to get this watch, but ultimately it's 42mm, and I know that's just one size too big for my wrist. For that money, the watch would have to be perfect. Now, if GP made this green dial in their 38mm format, hell, you might never see me around here again. Next is the watch that's lived in my mind rent-free for like the past 3 years. This is the rose gold Rolex Day-Date with the olive dial. And to me, this is the ultimate I've made it watch. In an alternate universe, I'd be drafted into the NBA, and this is the watch I would wear on draft night. What I love about the Olive Day-Date is that it has a fluted bezel, and notice the flutes are the same size and shape as the Roman numerals that make up the hour markers. Flashy? Yes. A little Art Deco? Yes. But it's one of the few modern Rolexes that I lust after. Okay, bonus watch time. This is a watch I recently added to my collection. Christopher Ward was doing a green Belcanto Limited back in the day. I made sure to wake up early. When this watch finally arrived 4 months later, it didn't disappoint. The dial is a deep sunburst green that has a bit of blue hue from extreme angles. The whole watch is just superbly finished, and the sonnerie function, completely useless, but also completely makes me smile ear to ear. Now, I don't like the look of the oyster bracelet from the website. A watch of this caliber deserves a special strap, so I paired it with this Aran Bespoke fabric one. It's a bit much, but so is the watch. All right, guys, the list can go on, but let me know what green dial watches are in your top 10. Go download the WatchCrunch app, and I'll see you on the crunchy side.